Hi, my name is Dr. James Guest, and I'm a coral reef ecologist based at Newcastle University in the United Kingdom. I research ways to rehabilitate coral reefs that are vulnerable to the effects of climate change. I first visited Palau in 2007 to carry out an experiment to test if we could boost the number of new baby corals on reefs using a technique called larval seeding or larval enhancement. We spawned corals in the lab and then reared these embryonic corals until they were larvae. Then we seeded them to reefs to see if we could actually increase the abundance of new baby corals above natural levels. The thing that really struck me during that visit was how healthy and vibrant the reefs are around Palau, particularly when compared to many of the world's coral reefs that are so heavily degraded due to human activities. I was also really impressed with the facilities at Pickwick, as they allowed us to easily collect corals from nearby reefs, spawn them and then rear the larvae in captivity and then return those larvae to the reef as part of the first long-term coral larval seeding experiments. In 2017, I was awarded a grant from the European Union to continue my work on reef rehabilitation and also to look at the possibility of selectively breeding corals to better withstand higher temperatures caused by climate change. I was really keen to return to Palau to do this work and was very excited when Pickwick agreed to collaborate on this project. The goal of our project, called CoralAssist, is first to identify which are the most heat-tolerant corals on the reef using aquarium heat stress trials. We then bring the toughest corals into the lab to selectively breed them and rear the offspring in tanks and in ocean nurseries. Then, at different stages in their lives, we test the offspring to see if they have inherited this increased heat tolerance from their parents. Finally, we outplant these corals to the reef, and we're currently looking at ways to ensure as many of these baby corals survive to become adults. The overall aim of our project is to see if it is possible to develop a method to increase the tolerance of natural coral populations to marine heat waves caused by climate change. While our work has a strong research basis, we hope that the results will eventually benefit local communities. Coral reefs in Palau are vulnerable to the effects of climate change, in particular marine heat waves that cause mass coral bleaching. These events are increasing in frequency and in intensity due to climate change. Palau's corals have been spared from the mass coral bleaching episodes that have devastated other coral reefs around the world in recent years, but it's probably only a matter of time before another major heat wave strikes. We're hoping that our research will provide some of the tools needed to identify which corals are most likely to survive in the face of climate change. Then, we hope to develop coral broodstocks to boost the natural capacity of certain reefs to withstand future warming. If successful, it might be possible for local communities and tourists to be directly and actively involved in this work. By maintaining coral nurseries and even outplanting more heat-tolerant corals onto local reefs. It has really benefited us to work with Pickwick, as the staff have such extensive local knowledge of the reefs and the surrounding ecosystems. Most importantly, working with Pickwick has helped us to understand how our work might be of most benefit to Palau as a society. This year we were able to train several members of Pickwick Aquarium staff in coral spawning and larval rearing techniques, so that they can rear their own coral babies right here in the aquarium. We hope that this may lead to a longer-term sustainable supply of corals without the need to collect corals from the wild. One of the highlights of working with Pickwick has been the outreach work that we've been able to do. For example, in 2019, we took part in nighttime coral spawning events for the general public that had films, talks, and a show and tell event. We've also conducted interviews for local radio stations and given talks to school children in local schools. In the next 20 years, I'd love to see coral breeding happening at Pickwick every year with a wide range of species. This would provide not only an amazing research opportunity to study the early stages of a coral's life, but could also provide a source of new baby corals to stock the aquarium. It would also be great to see a network of ocean nurseries containing more heat-tolerant corals set up around the country. These corals could contribute to efforts to boost natural levels of heat tolerance on Palau's reefs, and may help to increase their natural ability to withstand future marine heat waves and coral bleaching as a result of climate change.